All right, we are live now. Welcome back to the Blamegirl podcast with
Mr. Sherry Wayne.
And we got Uncle
Scotchy.
Scotchy in the house. What's up, Uncle Scotchy?
How's it going, guys?
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I was scared. I got sick last week and I thought I had the vid. And I know. And my bass player had the same symptoms, and we wound up actually seeing each other at the Tropical Park Testing Center. He was driving out as I was driving in, so we both were cleared. I was just good old-fashioned sick, so that's cool. And then we played at the book fair on downtown. It was a big 3-day event. I know it sounds boring, the book fair, but there was like a bunch of bands.
No, I just didn't know they had events for book fairs.
Wait, downtown Miami, right?
Yeah, downtown Miami. Yeah, the book fair. We played that, and then I did my little solo Tobacco Road gig on Sunday. So yeah, it was cool.
What's I'm assuming musically, yeah. You said my bass player, and so what's your part in that band?
I'm in a band called Juke. I'm the front man, and I sing and play harmonica. I then had that band for like 15 plus years, and then I do my solo act is called Uncle Scotchy. I sing, play harmonica, play guitar, and play the drums with my feet. So it's a true one-man band.
We are going to get into that later when we interview you. Terry, how was your weekend?
Busy, very busy, trying to get everything prepared for the holiday, trying to get everything knocked out. But I did get to go out last night. Went and saw Ghostbusters at the drive-in, which was real great because I saw Ghostbusters 2 at the drive-in, and I saw the original Ghostbusters.
Did you make out with your girlfriend?
Huh?
Did you make out with your girlfriend?
I am 40 years old. I watched the movie. We can make out at home. We paid for this
for free. Yeah, exactly.
Lame.
Yeah.
So
not to say I haven't before.
I'm glad you asked. I had a great weekend.
Nobody asked you.
No one ever asked me.
No.
But I had a good weekend. We had that show. We had a tour date on Saturday at Villain Theater, and that was a lot of fun. And we got more tour dates coming up in December, and we will let you guys know about that. So Let's get to it. We are ready to start blaming folks. Are you ready, Uncle Scotchy?
I guess I am, yeah.
So Congressman Matt Gaetz, he's a Florida congressman. He has offered Kyle Rittenhouse an internship, guys. Who's to blame?
I would say his idiot constituents for believing such nonsense. It's obviously this is like a political style of virtue signaling. Just saying, well, that 17-year-old, well, I'm going to put him on the staff for murdering those two people. Right, everybody? Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's what they deserve, those BLM bastards. That's all it is.
Oh, we'll get into those BLM bastards.
It's just pandering. It's just obvious pandering. I don't get how people like that can let themselves be so openly manipulated and not do anything.
Uncle Scotchy, what do you think about this move by Matt Gaetz?
I mean, I think when you elect a cartoon villain to be, you can't get any closer than that. You know what? One thing I saw, somebody posted something on Reels or whatever about that whole thing, and he's like, "How does he know Kyle Rittenhouse is a Republican? Does he know his stance on taxes and finances, or maybe it's something else?"
That is such a good point. All you know is his stance on self-defense.
Yeah.
So,
well, you don't vote for facts anymore. You vote for feelings. That's it. And you don't vote for a person. You vote against other people. Yeah, that's it's better than letting some liberal cuck run your state, right? Am I right? Am I right, Jethro?
I mean, it's like Billy Corbin says. You elect the people that you deserve. That's.
But you guys don't think that it would help the country if we got Kyle Rittenhouse in as an intern?
No, I think that just like Kyle Rittenhouse should have, I think Matt Gaetz is going to jail anyway, so it doesn't really matter because his buddy done rolled on him. So I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but the other guy in that investigation has turned state's witness.
Ooh.
So it's not looking awesome for Mr.
If
Gaetz.
you don't know, Matt Gaetz is under investigation for the sex trafficking of minors. So.
Oh yeah. Well aware, but I mean, for some reason or another, they're like Teflon. Nothing ever seems to stick, and they just keep going. And going.
Maybe in the Trump era, but it's a different time.
You are so right. Nothing seems to stick with these fools. Like, all right. So he said that Matt Gaetz said Wednesday that he thought Kyle Rittenhouse would make a good congressional intern, but Paul Gosar, who we talked about last week on the show, who threatened the AOC with the cartoon, he said that Matt Gaetz will have to arm wrestle him for Kyle Rittenhouse as an intern.
Wow.
Like, I just
sounds about right. Yeah, some lowbrow.
He's like
fake man shit. You know, that's not how things are done.
I like that you said that fake man shit. It's like hero worship is what I call it. They are worshiping him like he is a hero because he shot these two people that he, in my opinion, like he incited this incident to occur.
Well, of course he did.
And then he kills them and now he's a hero.
Well, it's like Joe Bob said last week, and Joe Bob made a great point. He's like, I don't know if Kyle Rittenhouse should be in jail, but I do know that his mom should be in jail. Because she drove him for 40 minutes with a fully loaded AR-15, multiple clips to drop him off.
That's all wrong.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, like actually his mom didn't drive him. He drove himself and he had his AR-15 stored at a friend's house that was already across state lines. So he skirted the law like crazy. It's like premeditated almost.
That makes it worse.
Well, here's the thing. If you're 17 years old, you don't plot and plan to go out to a protest just so you can protect other people's businesses. No, you went out there hoping you could get started in some shit and hoping that, maybe I'll actually get to use this thing. That's because that's a lot. There's a lot of gun owners, especially the ones that like the tactical version. Like I've owned a lot of guns in my life, but they're all for hunting and shooting sports. But there's a whole nother subgroup of gun owners that's like, they got to have the tack gear. They got to have the belts and the clips and the multi, you know what I mean? And the straps and the bump stocks and everything. Just it's military fetishism is what it is. They love that Call of Duty mentality and they want to take it for real to the streets. So let them, but then you go to jail. That's the way it goes. You know,
but he was right. And the level that he was emboldened to, like, not only I remember when it happened, and there's all those clips of him like getting water from the cops and the troops and stuff like that. He had in his mind, he was doing nothing wrong. And that's kind of, if you want to blame anybody, I mean, it's the rhetoric that made this 17-year-old kid, as much as you want to blame him for whatever, he's a product of what's happening. You know, most 17-year-olds, you know, can't come up with all that shit by themselves. But luckily, he didn't even feel scared about what he did or being there. He felt he was on the side of law. He felt completely just. So therein lies the problem. There's the blame.
What's frustrating too with this is that there's so much misinformation going out on both sides, because like I did have that information that Terry had, that his mom drove him but you know, as the trial unfolded, this information came out about how everything.
Well, Joe Bob is your source, you know.
But everything unfolded on how everything actually went down. Wow. And with that said, like, there's conservatives that are like, he was protecting his grandparents' business. Bitch, shut up. No, he wasn't. The business owner said he didn't have anything to do with asking Kyle Rittenhouse to protect that business. So
that's insurance, whatever damages would have happened, insurance would take care of.
That's why we have insurance. That's why.
If
you don't collect on your insurance every once in a while, you're just basically getting hosed. You know,
it's un-American.
It's like, what else?
It's un-American. That's exactly right. But it's not only that, but I'm telling you, it's that whole mindset of that particular kind of that you know, Call of Duty gun owner is what I call them, where they just get fantasies about what it's actually like instead of the reality of what it's actually like. And
Then he was scared.
And they'll say things like, oh, I buy a gun hoping I'll never have to use it. But secretly they're like, oh, give me a reason to use this. You know, like they get really excited about
or
it.
not even secretly, they go out searching for a reason to use it.
Right,
Go
exactly.
to a protest and be like, oh, I'm protecting this.
Well,
business.
you know, nothing stops a bad guy with a gun except a good guy with a gun, or a 17-year-old that just got squirrely one night, I guess.
Speaking of a good guy with a gun, Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted as if he was a good guy with a gun, guys. Who's to blame here? Go ahead, Uncle Scotchy. What do you think?
Well, I went and looked up just exactly what the charges were. I just wanted to just be clear on what the charges were. And they were first-degree intentional homicide, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree reckless homicide, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, 2 counts of that. So if nothing else, endangering safety, how is that not endangering safety? I mean, the fact that he was acquitted of the most simple things, I mean, it just seemed like it was not to quote the other side, but a kangaroo court between that judge's lackadaisical attitude, the way they picked the jurors, everything just up and down. And we all had to just watch this clearly slanted thing. They weren't even veiling it with justice. It was just, everybody was just kind of, it was a hang. It was a court hang. It did not seem like a murder trial.
No, it really didn't.
So
it was very chummy between the judge and the defense
It
attorney.
doesn't seem like either one of you think that he just wasn't guilty.
Well, he's guilty. I wouldn't say a first-degree murder. I wouldn't say that he's guilty of that.
No, those last 2 charges seem very appropriate to me.
I think he's guilty of manslaughter because let me tell you another story. Let me tell you another story. Manslaughter by what do they call it? Like liability. What's the legal term for it?
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, well, whatever. Yeah. So like I knew a guy that one time got in a bar fight. Right? He got in a bar fight. He was drunk. He turned around. He popped a guy that was talking shit. That guy wound up falling backwards and hitting his head and cracking his head open on the bar, like the bar hump underneath. And they said, you know, if he dies, you're going to be charged with manslaughter, right?
So like, is that on the prosecution?
Manslaughter?
No, but that was one of the charges.
Huh?
I thought it was manslaughter. I thought it was manslaughter at least too, and so I thought that was interesting that wasn't one of the charges. I mean, is it like the OJ case? You blame the prosecution?
Well, I think
no, that's the thing,
maybe.
Uncle Scotchy. They did bring a manslaughter charge, and he was acquitted on that. Which is unbelievable to me. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they were just going.
He just read all the charges that were brought against him.
But I didn't hear manslaughter in there.
No, it wasn't. It was on the what I googled. So
what? It was reckless homicide.
Reckless.
Intentional homicide, reckless homicide, recklessly endangering safety, and recklessly endangering safety on the 2 counts for the people that got killed. So
just so everybody knows, if you are drinking and you're over the limit and get in an accident and somebody dies, you're going to prison for manslaughter. Absolutely. But if you want to walk around a protest riot, essentially, with a semi-automatic gas-powered assault rifle until somebody looks at you wrong and then kill them, you're good. Don't worry about it. As long you have to look like this, though. You can't look like this.
And that's true. I was just
obvious.
If you look like this, you're fucked. If you look like this and you bring an assault rifle to a protest, it's basically suicide by cop.
I was just gonna say, because I didn't know this, but there's a girl, Crystal Kizzer.
Yeah, I just read about her.
In 2018, at the age of 17, she shot and killed a man that held her captive and sexually abused her for over a year and was found guilty of first-degree murder. So it was murder when she did it, but not when Kyle Rittenhouse.
How is that not self-defense? If you're being held captive and raped every day for a year.
She went and found him and shot him.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know.
Still don't care. That's at least innocent by reason of insanity.
That's vigilante.
No, I think that's more a crime of insanity. Like, think about what it would do to you mentally.
Yeah,
definitely. You know.
Well, I want to dig into this a little bit more. Do y'all have any blame for the judge or the prosecutor?
Judge, 100%. So inappropriate throughout this entire trial. He should really be removed from the bench, honestly. The gross negligence, which was the word I was thinking about before, negligence that judge showed in that courtroom is appalling.
Just a cavalier attitude that he had. Just hanging out with a bunch of white boys. And let's get some of that Asian food. And what?
Yeah, he did say that. He said that for real. Like,
and he said they had one. He couldn't blame the jury because there was a black on the jury. He said a black. Okay, who talks like that?
So, well, one of the victims was
not a judge.
One of the victims was white.
No, both of the victims were white.
Were they both? Yeah. Okay. I didn't know about the other one, so I wasn't going to guess. But so both of the victims are white.
Actually, let me just say this:
the perpetrator's white.
3 of the victims were white because there was a victim that lived whose shoulder he shut off.
Right, but not really the point, Gio. But thank you for the semantics. But yeah, not really the point. The victims were white. The perpetrator was white. Why does a black have anything to do with it? This was a direct shot at Black Lives Matter. That's all it was. It's a direct message.
I just don't feel the rage that we had, maybe because everybody was cooped up during the pandemic, because maybe everybody's just numb to it. But, the rage after George Floyd and things like that, I just don't feel that people, I think this is just getting spun and it's on to the next thing faster than it should be for something like this. I haven't seen any protests or riot or anything for this, which is.
Well, they are protesting in Kenosha, but it's like almost.
Kenosha.
Kenosha, sorry. You're almost scared to protest after this because you know that.
And that's what it was meant to do.
You can be shot dead and
your perpetrator goes free.
No one's going to stop.
Your killer will go free. That's exactly what this was. This was a message to Black Lives Matter movement that says, keep your black mouth shut and don't complain, because if you come out here, we're going to let killers kill you and walk free.
And I blame Biden a little bit for saying that the jury has spoken and it was justice. And that's kind of a fucking pussy move.
I thought that he would have the Justice Department intervene, but no, he's not going to. And, it just sucks all around because, that's one thing that's crossed my mind. I like to protest, and it makes me feel like I'm not protected if I'm going to protest, because people can just run you down. They can shoot you down, and then.
No, the rundown guy got convicted.
Yeah, but they're going to still try to do it,
Yeah.
Like people, the vigilantism is just out of control, and then what's even scarier is if you try to stop someone that's attacking people at a protest, because that's pretty much what happened here. Is they were trying to stop this guy who had murdered someone. You're not protected. So it just is so disheartening.
You heard it, Black Lives Matter. If you're going to protest, bring your own guns.
No, you should actually bring Kyle Rittenhouse because he supports you.
Yeah, no, bring your own guns.
As far as blame, you should blame both sides. I mean, I'm liberal, but I'm a lot closer to center than a lot of people think. And if you can't blame your own side for things like Biden not stepping up and the other side not stepping up, then, you got to look at that as well. So you got to put that on as well.
Oh. That's just because the Democrats are pussies.
They're spineless. I don't disagree with you there, but
that's all it is.
I didn't expect them to take a hard stance anyway. So
meanwhile, this whole trial has been going on, and they're like, "Look, shut up. We're trying to get this infrastructure bill passed."
That's what's in. And speaking of infrastructure bill, I'm glad you brought that up, Terry, because Biden.
Nice segue this time.
It was perfect. You helped me out. Biden is actually spending millions to continue the fight against COVID-19. Who's to blame? Do you think we should still be spending billions on COVID?
I think that this is a good idea. I think this is going to save lives, and it's going to save the. I'm sorry. I think this is a bad idea for the reason that it's going to save lives, but all the wrong lives. I'm sorry, it is. It's going to save the lives of people who say, I'm not trusting no vaccine from medical science, but here, I'll take this pill from medical science. That's different somehow. It's just. Anybody that's dumb enough to let politics into their scientific understanding. I mean, do we need them? Do we honestly need them? I've been saying this since the beginning.
Let me just say this. That's a good way to attack the people that are getting treated. But who's to blame for Biden spending these millions? What do you think about it, Uncle?
I mean, blame is assuming that it's the wrong thing to do. But let's just assume it's the right thing to do. I'd like to know kind of more why, because everybody definitely has, COVID fatigue. But I mean, I think there's just so much going on and there's so many battles you could pick. It's like, what's his reason for that? All that money, is it just to save lives? I mean, now?
I think it is because, like, the article said that it's more so to treat COVID than to get people vaccinated, because you can't get Americans to, first of all, one, get vaccinated, and then two, get the second dose, and then the third dose. So
you're one to talk, but go ahead.
Fuck off! I had both my doses,
and it took so long and so much.
I am
convincing.
Black. I'm allowed. Okay.
Whatever. No,
I'm allowed to just try
it's
to
like it's
fuck
like
off.
It's like he said, you got to look at your own side too.
I did it though, but
Eventually.
nonetheless, I think people wanting to get vaccinated, that's waning. Like it's hard to get people out there to get these.
If you haven't by now, it's like, oh, Biden said we should. Really?
If you haven't by now, you ain't getting it.
Yeah.
So, but I also think like winter is coming. And that means like, we're going to be inside. COVID's going to be spreading around more easily. And I think he has a point. You don't want to overwhelm the hospital. So if you can treat people with a pill, do it, right?
Well, let's throw out the idea right offhand. Let's throw out the idea that this was meant to save lives. Nobody cares, honestly, at this point. I mean, 3,000, I've said this before on stage, 3,000 people died in 9/11. We went to 2 wars and we built the largest single standing structure at the time to commemorate that. More than 600,000 people have died of COVID, and motherfuckers won't even wear a mask. So let's not pretend that this has anything to do with lives or the numbers or any of that. The government doesn't care about your health.
Yeah, I don't really know what his angle is. I probably can't even answer this without a significant amount of research on Marcus. I mean, I don't really know what the motivation is. There's so many other things that need to be dealt with and where the billions could go right now.
It sounds like you think that the money could have been diverted to somewhere better.
Yeah. So people that,
yes, like
people that wanted to be treated, maybe help out the families that were decimated by, parents and grandparents that had died, maybe some sort of housing situation for people that can't make their payments anymore because their parents died of COVID. I mean, you get a little bit more creative and a little more empathetic with the whole thing instead of a blanket. Here's a bunch of billions for, to make some COVID treatment for the idiots that didn't get the fucking vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I think they could have spent at least, some of those billions to make COVID more deadly, which is what it should be. It should be more deadly so that we can just clean out some of this dead brush in our gene pool so we don't end up like Idiocracy.
Or treatment centers at comedy shows across the country.
Yeah. Did you know that a few years ago, the creator of that movie Idiocracy came out in an interview and said, this wasn't supposed to be a documentary, right? It was just supposed to be a fucking movie.
And
we're fucking around. I just want to
become like a real documentary.
Yeah, but now it's like a real thing.
Folks are like,
stupid people breed more.
I don't believe in science.
Yeah.
Let's drink Gatorade all the time. Remember that shit? That shook me. I was like, what if people were really like that?
It's got the electrolytes that plants crave.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I think that even though he's diverting a lot of money towards COVID, I think that COVID treatment, I think it's good. But
nope.
You know what else I think is good, guys? I think it's good that people are naturally curing themselves from diseases, and namely HIV. Who's to blame?
Okay. I read this nonsense you sent me.
Why is everyone saying it's nonsense?
Because it's the same thing everyone does. This is the Facebook disease right here. You take one singular case out of millions, and then you publicize it as if it's the new, reality.
That's my exact thing. You can't base reality off of outliers. This woman is an outlier, and it wasn't, she could have just as easily died. But she's an outlier. Something genetically happened with her, and everyone's pointing her and spending their energy thinking that we don't really need proper HIV. What did she eat? What kind of applesauce did she eat? What the fuck, she's an outlier.
I don't even know that. I mean, yes, she's an outlier, but I think it's interesting that the human body is capable of that. You know,
she probably
I
just
think
got.
it's interesting that our immune system is capable of that, and I think it needs to be talked about.
What
you know?
immune system? HIV literally wipes
Her
out your
immune
immune system.
Exactly.
is
That's what it does.
Yeah, but her immune system.
How many generations are we into HIV now? Since the 80s?
80s, yeah.
So now it's pretty cool. It's natural shit. Now we're finally developing a human.
But we're not. This is one singular case.
She's an outlier, but I mean, if there's more cases that show up, it's something to be looked at.
No, guys, I don't know if you read the article, but she's an outlier. But there was a lady in San Francisco this happened to first.
Right.
So it may, and I get where you're coming from, because I had this discussion. I just came from a campaign event. One of my friends, attorneys, he's running for office as a progressive, and he, you know, people were interested in this story, but they're like, I'm scared, because if you have people that are thinking like, oh, my immune system can cure HIV, you're gonna have people that say, oh, my immune system can cure COVID as well. So I get the trepidation here, but at the same time, I feel like I'm so like, I don't think we work with our universe, with our planet enough. And I think that there's something that we need to be studying within these people that they've figured out, or that they're doing in their lifestyle, that maybe we can all incorporate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I sound stupid or
Do you know why that's dangerous thinking? Because if you tell any American,
they're so stupid. Yeah.
If you tell any American that like, oh, well, such and such was special, and that's why, and then everybody's going to go, well, I bet I'm special too. You're not special. Okay. You're not special. You're not going to be the one. It's the same thing with those idiots that think their government's all going to track them. Why? What's so interesting about you that you should be tracked? You know, they got crab legs down at Costco. Oh, yo, we should definitely follow you to Costco and Jiffy Lube and back. No,
I'm not getting crab legs from Costco.
Yeah, my buddy was talking to my buddy was talking to this homeless guy, and the homeless guy was like, I'm not getting the vaccine because they're trying to get my genes. He's like, why would anybody want your genes?
Yeah, you can't. You're a man. You're a man. You go to a bar, you're trying to give your jeans away for free, and nobody's buying, and it's free.
Okay.
So no, they're not going to spend
your homeless jeans.
No.
But I think the common thread, maybe like because of COVID, this is more of a story, because that's where the thread is. Nobody gives a shit about HIV anymore. Everybody forgot about HIV. But when you hear people's immune system coming up, that one chick in Argentina, you know, that probably wouldn't have gotten legs if there wasn't for
well,
COVID.
we know.
There's two.
Wait. We know there's a chick in Argentina and San Francisco, but we know that people are fighting off COVID with their immune system. We fucking know that already. We know that people are getting COVID and don't even know they have it.
Right.
So we know that's a thing. We know that. I'm just saying, like, I believe in our bodies and like nature and shit like that. I just do.
Well, the main thing you can do against COVID is just be healthy.
Yeah. No. That definitely, and also vaccinated, I think.
Well, yeah, no, I'm saying, but being healthy is the number one. 40% of the people who have died of COVID had diabetes. 70% of the people who have died of COVID have been obese. So yeah, you could probably just be healthy and probably skirt this thing. But then you got people like my father who is healthy, but he's in a certain age range and he got long haul. And to be honest, I think that's just as bad. Having watched it progress in him over the last 10 months. And I mean, he's like shuffling around like he's 90 years old. You know, this guy was climbing mountains 2 years ago. Like it's long haul there's
something
joke.
to be said for it. So, and I get what you guys are saying about like, you don't want people hanging on to that, like, oh, my immune system will fight it off. And even though it might, it's a, don't laugh.
I'm just saying, if you tell, I just said it, if you tell people they might be special, they're going to think they're special.
Yeah, even though it might fight it off, you got to worry about everybody. Like, that's what made me do it, as many of you may know. Yes, I'm Black, and I didn't clamor to get the vaccine at first, but I did get it because I feel like I have an obligation to society, to doctors, nurses, to my family. My mom can't get it. Fuck you, Terry.
You did it because of your mom. Just say that.
Don't look at me like that.
Say the truth. You wanted to see your mom, but she's elderly and can't get vaccinated, so you had to.
It's not because she's elderly. My mom was born with polio, and also because I respect medical professionals and I don't want to overload the hospitals. I don't want to be that person that ends up with COVID and has to go to the hospital and get treated knowing that.
Well, that's the only reason they're doing the pills, by the way.
Yeah.
They're doing the pills to keep people out of ICUs, to keep people out of the hospital. That's the only reason they're doing it. They could give a shit about your life or whether your health or any of that. They just don't want to overload their hospital system. That's it.
And I don't either. So that's another reason I got that. Those two reasons, my mom and the hospitals.
Mainly your mom, but go ahead.
Okay. So, all right. So I guess that's it. Do you guys have anything else you want to say on that, the HIV issue?
Really, I mean, I just see the parallel with COVID, and those points are valid. Everybody says, I take care of myself, and so it happens to them. Sometimes people have pre-existing conditions that they don't even know about. I mean, I'm fortunate. I mean, not fortunate, but fortunate. My father, I've been taking care of my father for years, and I took care of my mom for years, and I took care of my pop, and I just have to bathe him every day for the last 3-4 years, and he died pretty much the end of 2019. So if anything, he was lucky he got out right then. I don't know what I would have done. I was able to sit here with my dog for a year and not. Thankfully, I never got it. I got vaccinated as quickly as I could, but I'm a musician. I had to get out and start playing as quickly as I could. So things opened up. As fucked as Florida is, and my friends in California, in different states, weren't allowed to play. At least I was allowed to get out there and start making money a little bit again. But I don't know what I would have done if I would have just completely quarantine myself to bathe my father every day. So, I mean, that situation is just something that a family, you can say about health. I mean, he was old, and I don't know what he would have done. With no sports, he probably would have killed himself, and there's no baseball. But
yeah.
I'm tripped out every time I meet a baseball fan. I'm like, really? You're sticking with it? All right. Baseball's boring. I used to play.
I haven't watched a baseball game since he died. I only watched baseball with him.
Baseball is super fun to play and super boring to watch.
It's fun. It's fun to watch if you're at the game. I'll say that.
If you're at the game.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
That's an illusion.
Like being stoned without being stoned. It's like you're just hanging out. The guy hit the ball. What happened? I'm hungry.
Yeah, exactly. You got good food. You got good alcohol.
Every time I've gone to a Marlins game, since I've been an adult, at least, it was fun as a kid. But as an adult, it's always like, yeah, we're gonna do it, and we're so excited. And then we drive all the way down to the stadium. Got to find the parking. Then we get through all this shit. Then we get up there and we find our seats. But typically they're all going to be far away. And by the fourth inning, it's like, why did we do this? Why did we do this?
I will say, production sometimes is more than it's worth. Anyway. All right. So let me take the time to welcome our guest, Uncle Scotchy from Miami. He does Uncle Scotchy's storytelling.
I was going to get some scotch because I love
Extravaganza, which is recorded in Miami at Bar Nancy, but he is also a musician. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Before we get started, what's in that glass?
It's Jameson.
Jameson? What label?
Uncle Irish whiskey, huh?
You said Jameson?
Yeah, regular old Jameson Irish whiskey.
Yeah, just your standard Jameson. Well, that's Irish whiskey. It's not particularly Scotch, but I'll give you
at all.
I'll give you a pass on it.
Uncle Irish whiskey takes way too much explaining. It's just it's brown.
That's fine. You can do that. I mean, I'm a Lagavulin guy. I love Scotch. I was gonna get some before this, but I just ran out.
I'm sorry. I think Terry might be Scottish or Irish.
No, I'm Irish.
Oh, okay.
And I like Jameson too, but I do like Scotch.
I like Scotch too, but
I like the Johnny Walker.
And he also likes to mansplain. I'm sorry, I didn't warn you.
What mansplain?
You're mansplaining Scotch.
We're talking liquor here.
All right, welcome to the show, Uncle Scotchy. Thank you for joining us.
And I think I earned the right. I've been to the Jameson distillery. I did the tour.
You haven't been to Uncle Scotchy's yet.
So. All right.
So how
That's
long
right.
have you been doing your storytelling? That's what I want to kind of focus
I
on.
started it during the pandemic. I mean, stories on the podcast, but it was a really dark time for me between my pop finally dying and then about 2-3 weeks after my pop died, going into the holidays, I found out that my girlfriend I was living with was cheating on me while I was going through all that stuff with my pop.
Wow.
Wow.
And then I had been taking care of either my mother or my father. My mother died of early onset Alzheimer's. So I moved back here. I lived in San Diego for 8 years, and I moved back in 02, and I took care of her till 09 when she passed. And then I've been taking care of my pop. So almost 20 years I've been taking care of somebody.
Yeah.
And he died, and then she left, took one of my dogs. Well, we had 2 together. And then I got into a real dark time during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine suggested that I do a blues opera. I'm like, what the fuck is a blues opera? And he's like, it's like a rock opera, like Tommy. He's like, story, song, story, song, story, song. You have a lot of fucked up shit that happened to you, and you have a lot of songs that you wrote about it. Why don't you put it together and do like a one-man show? And that kind of blew my mind. And that's when I reached out to my buddy at Bar Nancy, I had known for years. And I was like, man, and it really scared the shit out of me, as much as I've been performing since the 90s and been in bands. So that's why I love having all these just talk without any instruments or anything to people other than tip your bartenders or anything. Scared the shit out of me. So I needed a place to workshop this. And I asked Ben, the owner of Bar Nancy, if I could do it. He's like, well, Wednesdays, it sounds socially distant. We're just opening up again. Why don't you come try it on a Wednesday? And I just started sitting here and practicing, working on these stories. And my buddy that I grew up with as a casting agent and a director in LA, he started FaceTiming me and helping me with that. And it turned into a thing that was basically selfishly based. But then I wound up meeting all these really cool people and hearing their stories, that people that I've never met in my life, I didn't even think I had anything in common with or get along with, told these really cool and honest stories up on the stage every week. And it changed my perspective of a lot of things. It made me a better storyteller. And it just turned into like this little cult thing that's been lasting over a year now.
No.
I've heard it's great. She's boasted many times to me, I'd love to come down and be a part sometime.
Please do.
Yeah, I would just love to see how it's structured and see how everybody does their portions of it.
It's really cool and entertaining.
It's structured like 4 storytellers a night. Stories are between 10 and 15 minutes. Story has to be true. They have to be about you. And I struggle with a lot of you did a great job. A lot of comics, it has to be, they have a hard time not having to be a bit, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have to be funny. And you don't have to make people laugh. And you don't have to fight with the crowd either. People shut the fuck up, or I tell them to shut the fuck up for the most part.
Crowd's awesome.
Yes.
So it's not even necessarily humor based. It's just kind of like, it's your story, but humor finds its way through.
If you're a comedian, humor's definitely, and
Yeah.
even if you're not, humor's gonna find its way through the story if
And
it's a good story.
if you don't try, it does a lot better too. Because I've seen a lot of comics try to work their bits in, and I've seen them fail, and they stop, and they're just like, "Oh, that joke didn't work." I'm like, "No, it's not supposed to. Just go on, bro. Tell your shit."
I know when I did it, I didn't do anything. I just did a straight up story, and I felt guilty. I was like, man, I got to do another story because I didn't feel like it was good enough. But
oh, I got some stories. By the way.
So your motivation was like COVID and losing your parents, and what has been
motivation was my one-man show, and to put these stories together. I put this bubble chart together, which is like everything that happened in my life. And
we believe you. You don't have to find it to prove it.
Oh yeah, it's a weird matrix looking thing, and I just started putting together, like I've had nothing but time. I'm sitting here with my dog for fucking a year, and I'm trying to piece together, and it was a very therapeutic way of dealing with the shit that I've dealt with before. And then I remember the first time I was really hooked when I told the story about my mother and her death of early onset Alzheimer's, because everybody cried. The fucking bar.
I gotta say, I listened to your story about your dad, fucking moving. Like I cried. I laughed. It was an amazing, entertaining story. And I was hooked.
You got to
to-
drop some funny in there.
after that. Yeah, you definitely made it funny. I was just so touched by it.
Well, see, that's my problem is I wouldn't know which one to tell. You
Mhm.
know, you probably don't know this. Should I just call you Uncle or Scotch?
No, you
Scott,
should call him brother. You're too old to be calling him.
I don't want to dead name you on here. I know your real name, but I don't want
My
to.
friends call me Scotch.
Okay. All right, Scotch. Like my father's been a pastor my entire life.
Oh, perfect.
So I've got a lot of church stories.
We just had not to interrupt, you keep going, but we just had a girl. She has a podcast because her and her friend, they were in a cult their whole lives. Very strict religious cult.
Ooh.
And they got out, and it's a cult podcast about these people that got out and how they used to not have to show any skin, no makeup. And for the first time, they just got out. And she told a story about that. And her father was a pastor, and it was a whole thing. So keep going.
Oh, no, he just wasn't a pastor. When I was growing up, from the age of 0 to probably 14, he wasn't just a pastor. He was a pastor of a Pentecostal church. Which that is as close to cult as you can get without actually being defined.
His dad was David Koresh. She doesn't want to say it, but I'm just kidding. No. Okay.
So either that one or my mom's story. One of the other.
We're not talking about you tonight, Terry. We're talking about Uncle Scotchy.
I know, but I'm just so interested in that. I love that idea.
It's a really cool concept. I've been trying to get in. Like we're gonna come down again. I got to get back down there. It was a lot of fun. Uncle Scotchy, what has been your proudest moment so far? And I want to limit it to the podcast. I know you're a musician, but I want to talk about Uncle Scotchy on the podcast. What has been your proudest moment of the podcast?
I think the people that come up to me that have like Alzheimer's is such like a dirty little secret. Mm-hmm. And it's like the one, like people can talk about prostate cancer all day, that, you know, what happened, but Alzheimer's for some reason or another is like something you're not supposed to talk about, especially amongst minorities. For some reason, it's like the hidden thing. Like I remember being like in Noche Buena and like, you know, my family's house and stuff like that. And there was like my old aunt that I didn't know, or great aunt. And you tell she didn't know what was going on. They just put her in a little room with the TV, and nobody would talk about the fact that she didn't remember you or anything like that, you know? And people have come out, and there's some place called Jesus Christ, the Mind Crowd Group. It's a organization. It's an Alzheimer's based organization trying to get people kind of cognitively tested. Their goal is to get 1 million people tested, and they've hooked up with me. They heard that story, and they made me kind of their face for their story, with the story about my mother. Just the fact that I'm half Jewish and half Cuban, and just like the whole, these cultures that are very family based that are really not good at dealing with the exposure of Alzheimer's and how to deal with it. And I taught people lessons about how to do that and how to tell that horrible story. And the fact that she was a remarkable person that died very unremarkably, to be able to tell her story and then hit people. And when I see them cry, I know that they feel for a second the way I felt for years. And that,
I bet your parents are very proud.
Two things about that. One, Cuban, Jewish, very great combination. I think so very unique and unusual. Because both of those groups tend to just be very outward about their feelings, and they're like, I love John Mulaney's joke, you never have to ask a Jewish woman if everything's okay, because if it's not, she'll tell you, you know. My stomach hurts, you know, like that.
So will sisters. Now he's divorced.
And then the second thing is, if you need any help with any of that stuff, you need a volunteer or any kind of financial boost or anything like that, I am way more than on board. My grandfather died of Alzheimer's.
My grandfather did too.
He was, I was his favorite grandson. We were so close, even though we lived far away. When we were together, it was like, it was peas and carrots, you know what I mean? And to watch him forget who I was really heartbreaking. Because I actually moved near there just before he got diagnosed. So I would see him on like a weekly basis.
And he still forgot you.
Oh yeah, no, and to watch him, he not only did he forget me, he came to my restaurant up in Memphis and he forgot how to get out, and the look of panic and terror in his eyes because he thought.
Yeah, there's a look that they get.
I mean, it's that 1,000-yard stare. I mean, it sent shit. Thinking about it right now sends shivers down.
Have you guys seen that they are working on a cure for Alzheimer's?
Yeah, well, I heard
to fucking get on.
Cure just came out that everybody they were touting as the next cure, and I heard now that it's really not. I know that
I was talking. This was like last week.
Oh no, this is like a month ago. I was talking about.
Yeah, they're saying that not a cure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say cure. A vaccination.
I mean, until it's.
Yeah, true.
Until it's here, it's nothing. But I love how we got a brand new type of TV every year, but we can't get some scientists working on, diseases like this.
So let me ask you, Uncle Scotchy, what has been your biggest challenge doing this?
Did the mic cut out?
Okay,
I just didn't know if he was.
Could be in the dirt.
I try to keep it as organic as possible. I don't ask people what their stories are about. I don't tell them how to tell the stories. But people have a problem with. I've been wanting to do a bit of a workshop, maybe just some sort of a. What did you learn? Closure, beginning, middle, end. Something like that. Like there's this one woman told a story. My buddy's a drummer, and his wife was married one time before, and she told a great story about how she was with her ex-husband on a boat, and she had a bunch of rings and her bracelet on, they were metal, and she was in the water, and she put her hand up, and she got hit by lightning. And this is a big, long story, and they came to that, and they took her to the hospital, and they found out she was 8 weeks pregnant. She didn't know. And she wound up having the baby, and now he's 18, and he has an off-the-chart pain tolerance. He doesn't feel pain. And he has no sense of smell. And that's my story, bye. And everyone's like, what the fuck? We all have questions.
We got
superhero child. Yeah, like
I don't have smell.
That's Bruce Willis from Unbreakable. That's Bruce Willis. Like, and she just giggled and went off the stage. It's like, what did we learn? That's superhero child. And the challenge has been that without me having to coach people up. People have different motivations for telling stories. And then, sometimes I'm sitting there at a storytelling night, and for the most part, they're good. But when somebody's going up there and telling a shit story, I'm not going to cut them off because they're following the rules. It's true. It's about them. If the story sucks, the story sucks. You're going to get a good meal. You're going to get a bad meal. For the most part, the meals are going to be good. And I've been really lucky with that. But I think that's been the challenge. There's not really a storytelling community like in a lot of places that, the Moth is where I picked up with the storytelling network that I kind of studied and learned how to tell stories. That's been going around since '94 worldwide. If you go, I sat there and I binged listening to hundreds of stories, learning how to tell my story.
Like a very seasoned storyteller. When I heard, because I know when I came, you were telling the story about your dad, and I think it was the last night you told the story about your dad, and I was so fucking all the emotions, And that's what you don't realize with storytelling, and it's okay with storytelling as is. It's not okay with comedy. As a comedian, you're supposed to make people laugh, but with the storytelling, you can evoke all type of emotion, and I think that's beautiful.
Well, the best thing is once you get everybody horrified. If you drop a little bit of funny in there, the whole fucking air comes out of the room. Everybody's so relieved.
Because they all want it at that point. We're like, get us, you brought us here, get us back out again. Don't leave us in dark place.
The best laughs I ever got. Everyone's just about to fucking die,
I've never been to the show. Like I said, she has told me about a bunch. But I can already tell, I can see why you're good at it. Because to be a good storyteller, you need two things. You need courage to be honest with a group of strangers, and you need to be genuine. And you seem like a very genuine guy to me.
Thank you. There's nothing else like that going.
Let's get to know Uncle Scotchy a little more. Who is Uncle Scotchy? Like, where are you from? How long?
What is an Uncle Scotchy?
He hates it.
It's so pandering.
But tell us about yourself, seriously.
I'm a Cuban that was born in Miami. My dad sold my mother a car. That's how they met. And 66 Mustang Fastback. He's a
Of
car
course,
salesman.
So wait,
of course,
wait,
that's how they
wait,
met.
wait.
Of course it is.
Does that mean dad was Jewish and mom was Cuban, or dad was
Dad
Cuban?
was Cuban. Dad was Cuban. He came over here and he lived in New York, and he moved down to Miami, and then he worked at Ford, and he sold this little Jewish woman powder blue '66 Mustang Fastback,
Cute.
and she was with her pop, and she left her little green umbrella. And my dad swore to the day he died that she left it on purpose so she would have to come back and talk to him about her father just so we could ask her out.
That is a trick.
Yeah.
People do.
She
That is
swore
a
to
trick.
her grave that she didn't, even as honest as she was. She was a big part of the art community. She had one of the first art galleries in Wynwood, like in '90. I helped her move.
Oh wow! I didn't even know Wynwood was around in '90.
You know,
Kind of wasn't. It was really sketchy. I'm like, Dad, why is Mom opening up a gallery here? You know, shut up and help your mother. You know,
not
and
to be offensive, but the best part about that story, the one that my mind immediately went to, was I would have given anything to hear the haggling over the price between your Cuban father and your Jewish mother on a car.
well, I always say it was a situation that required a great deal of charm and negotiation. Which
Yes,
is,
of course it does. Of course it does. Those are two.
Yeah, the
two
charm,
groups of
yes,
people that
yes.
do not like to be taken
So let
advantage
me
of.
ask you. So does that mean you are from Florida?
I'm from Miami. Yeah,
You're from Miami.
Only child from Miami. Yeah.
Tell us about
Miami.
about being a musician.
Who
Who are your
I always wanted to be right. Dad.
Who are your influences? You were talking about a blues opera.
Yeah, I went up. I was into music and like metal and shit like that. I played some bass, but then when I was 17, I went to UC Santa Cruz and I had a fucking gnarly acid trip. And my roommate put on a record, "Hard Again" by Muddy Waters, and I heard James Cotton playing the harmonica. I was like, I got obsessed. I was like, what the fuck is that sound? And I just had to make that sound. And then I dropped out of college. I went back to Miami. I moved in with my first living girlfriend. And I used to just play constantly. And she was like, she had a rule because she had money and it was her apartment. She had a good job. And she had a rule. She was like, I was not allowed to play harmonica in the house when she was home. And I was like, one day I'm going to play in front of people on a stage and they're going to pay me. Never! And then I wound up getting good. And then I moved to California and I played out there. And I wound up, that's when I not only am booking, but a lot of my musical experience has been putting on events and booking venues. I've been booking venues since the 90s, starting in San Diego. I used to book in Miami. I used to book the Stage. I booked Tobacco Road. I booked Will Call. I booked Wynwood Yard for years. I booked a lot of places. So those things kind of combined in a weird way with like, because I was on both sides of the fence. I had the sales acumen of my father, but then I had my mother, the artist and the art dealer. I knew how to like kind of make the artists feel good so they can, you know, I was like, you know, don't bust these artists' balls. So make them feel good so they can create. And that made me really good at that. And that fed into the whole music thing. And then as a writer, I just started realizing that I can't make people play my songs if I just play harmonica. So I wound up having to sing. And then I wound up just picking up everything. I wound up playing guitar and doing the one-man band thing. I saw a guy named Ben Prestage doing the one-man band thing, which is amazing. There's a whole network of these one-man bands around the world, really, now that we're online. But the one-man band thing is a really cool way to express myself just by myself and just playing drums with my feet and playing. So now I play with really, 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 really good musicians. Hope you guys come out to a show. I always say if I'm not the worst musician in the band, there's a fucking problem. I play with great musicians. We opened up right before the pandemic for Gary Clark Jr. at the Fillmore. We played festivals all over. We played some really cool shows.
We're gonna have to definitely catch you. I have to catch you as a musician.
Well, here's the thing. I love blues. I'm from Memphis originally. And so I spent a lot of time in Memphis and Nashville and New Orleans. And these are some hot blues clubs. In fact, one of the first clubs that I ever went to when I was 18 was a place down here called Muddy Waters in Sunrise, because they would serve us. You know what I mean? So that's why we just started going there. But then we learned, you know, about blues, and there would be these different live blues bands. And
Like Tobacco Road.
Yeah, kind of. But I don't know. It kind of got me, like, because I tried jazz and I never got into it. But
Terry, I mean, I know he's dying to tell you he used to be in a band.
I wasn't even gonna say
He
anything.
died today.
I started in a band before I became a comedian, but that was a whole nother life ago. That was between the ages of 18 and 22. And it wasn't blues, it was country music because I had the voice for it. And
Well, we don't really do like traditional, like I won't play blues clubs. Like I think there's a problem. There's like to be honest, there's a whole, I mean, forgive the expression, but it's what I like to call Uncle Tom blues. There's a lot of blues like that they pander. Oh Lord,
hey, look who you're talking to. Take it easy with that.
I do, and she knows what the fuck I'm talking about.
Take it easy with the Sambo stuff.
You know who they're pandering to though. You'll see the crowd. They're all old white divorcees.
Yeah.
It's not new music. You're doing that old yes, massa, playing that fucking shit. It's like, no, this is our music now. It's
He's
music
sitting right here.
I know, and she understands what the fuck I'm talking about more than you apparently.
She doesn't even like blues.
It doesn't matter because
Right.
it's a music that that's a real music that can evolve. It doesn't have to stay back in the days when the rules were the way they were. Blues is blues. And so you can make it your own now, and it can progress and it can evolve.
I like I remember when I got into blues, not into blues, but it was like a blues fusion, like, so that's what sucked me in, because it was a fusion.
That's what we are.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I liked about it? I liked the fact that it was the opposite of what I was doing. Because I was at the time I was doing
kind of the same.
Standard
country music is sad. And
but I was
from the same place.
He knows the difference.
Thank you, Uncle Scotchy.
He knows the difference. I was doing standard dance hall country music. We were doing great though. We were getting booked all the time. We were getting like
both kinds of music, country and western.
Yeah, exactly. But we were getting like $1,000 a night to play these clubs.
That's more than comedy.
That's not
well, you do split it 4 ways at the time.
Yeah, but can we do it? Can we fucking do a tour like that and get that?
Probably not. You like
4 of us on tour.
You like Sarah McLachlan way more, but
that's cool.
But no, it was the opposite, because it always felt very pandering, right? Because we all know that standard country music is 4 or 5 chords and different progressions. That's all it is, and it feels very.
The good thing about that, they got good stories.
No, like some of them have good stories.
Good country music is good stories.
Yeah, Willie Nelson, George. I'll even go George.
Townes Van Zandt.
Yeah, exactly. What's his name? I'm spacing on the name, but oh shit. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, they used to have good stories, but then it became like stadium pop for country music. And
you're talking about the original art form, though. No, but when did you get into blues? Tell me, you say you don't really like blues, but what's your blues fusion?
You talking to me or her?
Started getting Blamegirl. Giovanni, what you say you got into blues before?
Oh, the blues fusion happened when I was in college. There was one of my friends, he had a band, and I just remember going and listening to them live and just being so into it, like it just really, and I miss those days. Those were like great days, where you're just like great memories. What was the name of the band? I can't remember, but
it's just an energy, though. It's an energy.
It was the energy, and it was like my first time in college being exposed to that, and I fucking loved it. So, yeah, that's when I got into blues fusion. But we should keep it moving because it's already 8:05.
Okay.
Well, one shameless plug, if you guys want, we're playing.
Wait. We
got a plug section for it.
We got a plug section.
Okay.
We want to play the blame game. Are you ready?
Yes, always.
All right. I noticed that you book a lot of comedians for storytelling. Who's to blame? Why do you do that?
2 words: Danny Benevente.
That wasn't the answer, but I thought it was a pretty obvious answer, but I want to hear this.
He's been a friend of mine for a while, and we're both in the kind of bar industry and stuff. And I know from Blackbird and everything. And I used to have him at different venues, do comedy shows. I had him at Wynwood Yard when I was at Wynwood Yard. Mm-hmm. And I had him. He was one of the people I reached out to when I was workshopping my first story. And he came the first time I told the story. I wrote something all encompassing about my folks and stuff. And just 2 people, him and my buddy Bruno, Lone Wolf. and Danny was there, and then he told one, and he gave me some really good tips. He was just like, Eric, man, you can't hit people over the fucking head for 20 minutes with bad shit. You got to drop some funny in there. And he told me that from the beginning, but then he goes to me, he's like, Eric, dude, you're going to have a lot of comics hitting you up. Like, from the first he's
yeah,
like,
shameless creatures.
Like, and they have, and they've been a really good people. That it's been a blessing to have all these people in my life, because between like Zach and all these other fucking Steve Lamb and all these other people, I met these amazing people.
Steve Lamb has brought me. He's the one who brought me down.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Steve's a good guy. Like Steve.
Yeah, if you like Steve, that's a you problem. You're probably an asshole.
Everybody likes Steve. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to tag him in this post now, just so he knows we're all talking about good shit. We love you and your ukulele and your
oh God, he had a great joke the other day. I saw the little clip. He was like, just playing his ukulele. He's like, about dating in his 50s. I was dating a woman. Her parents are dead. She is not, but she definitely had the accent.
Oh my God, he didn't change it up. That's funny.
That's a good joke.
Okay. So do you have anything you'd like to promote?
There you go.
I would like to promote Wednesday night at Heartland. Thanksgiving evening, I'm playing with Juke at Heartland. That would be cool. And if anybody
Where's
wants to
Heartland?
Heartland is kind of near Churchill's, kind of little Haiti area.
This is Miami, guys.
Yeah, right by Space Park, like North Miami, so people can make it. It's a beautiful outdoor free venue. Trees, food, little stage. We play like 8:30 to about 11.
And this is Wednesday night?
Yes. And
Wednesday night.
Let's try to go.
I'm sorry?
No, I said I like that area. I used to go to Churchill's a lot. They used to have a lot of comedy there. I don't know if still anymore, but
no, it's still shut down. They're having a lot of weird political problems there. And
back
that
in the day, it was a
podcast.
Yeah.
UncleScotchy.com. There's links to my Spotify, and there's all the stories for like about the last year, and you can just kind of sit around and drive around and stuff. So yeah, I'd like to promote that.
We'll have to come down and check it out, man. I won't turn it down. Me
and Terry are gonna come down. I've been meaning to come down again because I feel like I know I did the story of Blamegirl during the first one, but I went to a campaign event tonight, and I was telling them about your podcast and about my podcast, and I was like, I want to go back and tell Uncle Scotchy about the first time I tried LSD. Like that's what I want to come down and talk about.
I'll tell you what, if you will come with me, if I ever get, I'm not trying to be presumptuous, but I will do the story. I will do the story of my mom.
Okay, I would love to hear that. Okay, we'll talk about that afterwards. So where can people find you on social media, Uncle Scotchy?
On Instagram, it's at Uncle Scotchy. And or for the band, it's Juke, 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 as in Juke Joint Miami, Juke Miami. And then on Twitter, it's Uncle Scotchy. And then it's pretty easy to find. It's pretty much the same thing on Facebook.
Okay. So check out Uncle Scotchy, guys. When's your next storytelling event?
Everyone, Wednesday? No, not this Wednesday actually, because it's Thanksgiving Eve.
You had the show. Okay, so it's next Wednesday.
Yeah, the December 1st is the next one.
And where's your band gonna be at next? Just
at Heartland on Wednesday night, and then at Monty's on the Beach on Saturday from 6 to 9.
All right, there you go, everybody.
Monty's,
you heard it twice.
Okay. And all right, guys, check out Uncle Scotchy's awesome, entertaining. If you're in Miami, definitely hit that shit up. Okay, trust me, it's great. All right, Terry Wayne, do you have words for white people?
I do, but I just want to go to this real quick. You should have asked me about my introduction to blues, because besides Muddy Waters, do you know what it actually was? It was, have you ever seen the movie Crossroads with Ralph Macchio? Yeah, that was the first time I ever heard the story of Robert Johnson and that whole legend. And I don't know what about it. It just,
I think you just fell in love with Jamie Gertz. You fell in love with Jamie Gertz.
No, just the idea.
Rycooter was the score for that. Rycooter.
It was like the mood. It was the mood of it. You know, it wasn't sad music. It was just like, like, let me wallow in it for a little bit and then I'll get up and walk away. You know what I mean?
Well, blues is kind of like the celebration of bad times. It's a coping mechanism. It's a celebration of bad times.
Right.
You should check out. You saw Black Snake Moan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the more modern kind of thing of that. It's a little darker, but it's
got more nudity. So
definitely a lot more nudity. Yeah. No, Crossroads is great. That whole battle with Steve Vai at the end for Willie Brown's soul was amazing.
Yeah.
Ron Macho walking around with his pants and this Karate Kid walking on his toes.
It was still the 80s. It was still the 80s. I know.
It was so 80s.
My producer over here is let's wrap it up. All right. Like there's a time limit. All right. Well, let's do some words for white people. Stick around. Don't run anywhere there, Scotch. Today we're going to make it quick. I hate that we have to revisit this again, but we're going to talk about division, white folks.
Bad at math.
No, not that kind of division.
Oh.
I mean, the division that's going on in our country right now, and has been going on for the last few years. We need to start looking at each other the way we did at least when I was coming up, which is, you could still be best friends with somebody if they didn't believe what you believed. And you could still be pleasant and nice to people. And you voted based on things that you believed in. You voted based on people you believed in, or ideas or policies you believed in. But now you don't vote for your person, you vote against the other. And, I wrote my first book in 2009, and one of the phrases I had in there was America's as a country is so great. The only person that could ever defeat us is us. And we're doing a very, very good job of it lately. Because I don't know if you remember this, but the saying doesn't go divided we stand. And we can't make it like this for very long. I want you to take just a second and think about if this snowball keeps progressing with all this hatred between blue and red, between Republicans and Democrats, but not even that, but just the culture of the society we live in. Just because somebody's different or thinks different does not mean they're not an American. It doesn't mean they hate America, and it doesn't mean they're trying to destroy your country or your neighborhood. It just means they think a little bit differently. And since we don't listen to each other anymore, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. So stop, take a breath. Remember that none of this means anything unless you make it, because none of you are running for political office. None of you have any action committees. You're not really doing anything. You're just destroying your own community. You're destroying your own relationships, and you're getting nothing in return. So just take a breath, take it with a grain of salt, and still try to love your neighbor, regardless of what they think or maybe say to you. All right. Thanks, honkies.
I didn't say it.
Happy Thanksgiving. There's gonna be a lot of awkward Thanksgivings again because
of course there is. It's been that way for 5 years now.
It didn't come from me. So all right, guys. Terry, do you have anything you would like to promote?
We have another show at Just the Funny coming up. Why don't we promote that?
I don't know what date that is.
I don't know what that date that is either, but it's coming up. So check my social media, Terry Wayne Comedy, on all platforms.
I have a show, me personally, not the tour, on Sunday at Pink Flamingo, I think, or Dirty Flamingo. Black Flamingo. No. Tipsy Flamingo. That's the name of it. It's in Miami. Tipsy Flamingo on Sunday night at 8:00. So
too many flamingo places.
So if you want to check me out there, and then we'll be back on Monday with all new guests. And thank you.
Chris Renoir will be here next Monday.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And thank you, Uncle Scotchy. You were awesome. I'm so glad we finally got you on. Hang out. And again, how can they follow you on social media?
Uncle Scotchy at Uncle Scotchy or Juke Miami, pretty much.
There you go. All right, guys. Until next week. All right. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.